Hi, I'm Jonathan May, member of the Teen Advisory Board with the Howard County Library System. And today I'm going to be teaching you about inheritance. So let's begin. So what is inheritance exactly? So inheritance is the most powerful object-oriented capability. You can use existing code in another class without needing to worry about messing up or doing something that causes errors in the other code. So inheritance is like you inherit money from someone that says that you can have the money if they aren't able to get it. So you inherit the money means you get it once the other person can't do anything. So the extends keyword, extends is the keyword here. You need this for inheritance in Java. So for example, public class, subclass, extends superclass. So here subclass is a subclass of superclass, and superclass is the main class. It has all these methods and variables if you put it in superclass. When you extend subclass, it creates a copy of those methods and variables that you can't see but are there, and then you won't be able to adjust those methods or variables unless you go back to the superclass. So the subclass can keep using those methods and variables and add on with other methods and variables, but you can't change the methods and variables from the superclass. So one way you can change the methods is specializing a method. If a superclass has a method, the subclass can redefine the method in its own class, which is called specializing the method. And then when you create an instance, then the Java will use the most deep method in the. So if you have a subclass and a superclass, then if you create an instance of the subclass and call the method, it will use the subclass method, not the superclass method. So for example, public class hand has a method called add card, but then you can have public class blackjack hand that extends hand, and then it will also have add card, but it can also add on to the add card method and do something different. So like you can have a method called add, you can add numbers, but then you have a class that extends that has a different job, and then you can change that add method to do something else. So another way for inheritance is a class hierarchy. This is used to represent superclasses and subclasses together in a diagram. Their arrows are drawn from the subclasses pointing towards the superclass, showing that they are extending it and inheriting from the superclass. This notation is called a UML, a Universal Modeling Language hierarchy. So here's an example of a hierarchy. You have the main class, which is animal. They have these methods called eat, sleep, and see. Then you have bird class, which extends the animal method because there's an arrow, and inherits all these. The bird can eat, sleep, and see. But then you can specialize a method, and bird can also fly. So, and then extending the bird method is a duck, a more specific bird. It can also fly, it can also eat, sleep, and see. But then what's unique, it has its own quack method, because not all birds can quack and not all animals can quack. Also for birds, not all animals can fly. So this is why you put this in here. Then on the other side we have fish class that extends animal. It can also eat, sleep, and see like all other animals, but not all animals can swim, so we put swim method in the fish class because fish category can swim. Not all birds can swim, so this doesn't correlate. Then you have dolphin that can extend the fish class. Then The dolphin can swim, usually swim, can eat, sleep, and see. But now it can chirp, make noises that are unique to the dolphin. Then we have an example here. We have public class, superclass. That's the superclass. And you have private int a, which is a private variable for the instance. Then you have superclass, which is the constructor here, since a equals to whatever b is. Then you have a method, add. You add 2. So we also have a subclass here, which extends the superclass. You add int c, and then subclass constructor. But then here you have to call the superclass constructor since it extends the subclass, the main class. Then you also have specializing the method here, public void add, super.add, that you can do that. So if we want, we can create an instance here called, let's see, superclass a ab equals new superclass. And you put in number 4, right? Then we can do ab.add, and then when we print this, print ab. Oh wait, we need to add this method. We do public void, public int void get a. This can return a. So it's like this. You return a, now you can print ab. You can print ab.get a. So now when we run it, we should be able to print 6 because you called 6 on 4 and you add 2. So here if we also do the same thing, public int get a. Now this time we'll do get c because the c. Return c. We do public static void args. So now if you create an instance, you call subclass a equals new subclass 2. Create an instance of here, but you also create one in the superclass. So when you can do subclass dot, no, you do a dot add. This time it only adds 1 or 2. And then if you want to print a dot get c, then we run this, we get 3 because you called 2 and you add. So that's the end. Thank you for watching.